Okay, guys, when last we spoke, you guys were having this amazing educational opportunity for first aid, specifically for rugby. Of course, the sport requires a certain level of preparation, a certain amount of awareness, and a certain amount of medical response from learned professionals like you. Where do we now take this so that you can, prepare the coaches, possibly, even parents, maybe?
Yes, so we're kicking off our first set of courses and we're offering it to the high school rugby coaches. They are the ones that we want to start with primarily because both the girls and the boys are full contact. And so that is going to be the priority as far as improving player safety. So requiring that of the coaches is only going to have overlap across all of the teams, as well as improving that safety and that response. So everyone's on the same page as what to do if a player goes down.
Now, Paul, with team managers are very often, like students at the school themselves. Could they attend to and just get like an idea of what to do?
At this point, we're just trying to keep it primarily to the coaches because they play multi-roles, of course, at practice and at the games. So it's a little bit easier for us to kind of make sure that what they're learning is also transpiring in practice because they also contact at practice.
Okay. Now this course is basically like first aid, again, for the sport, right? What are we talking about in terms of just like being able to respond and then having that point of delineation where you say, okay, I know this, there's a difference between being hurt and being injured, right? And we need more serious permanent medical care.
Yeah, so I think it's just overall improvement on player management. And so, identifying when an athlete is down and what exactly to do versus coming into that type of event and not knowing what to do or even how to move the student from the field safely. And so then at that point, everyone will have a collective understanding on what's to be done, who would be in charge, who would make those decisions, and how those instructions would be met across other people, because it's a team effort to have a player moved from the field safely. And ultimately we do have emergency medical services required at the field, but in the event that there are multiple players down, that would be our secondary, that would be what we would fall back on.
And the coaches know their players better than anybody in the world, so they could at least say, we're not getting you to the point where you can be like an EMT or a combat medic, but you can possibly recognize the signs of like a concussion or something.
Correct.
And at the very least, do no harm, meaning not add more injury to the already injured athlete.
How long is the course, and what does it entail?
So we both actually went through the course.
Yep.
It's a fairly long course, but because it involves a lot of aspects outside of what would be considered major events like a traumatic brain injury or a concussion, as well as a spinal cord injury, we have other things like, I don't know if you want to elaborate on other types of injuries, Paul.
Well, any type of abrasions, any broken bones, things like that. Just management and care. Basically, like I said, like Tassi said, being able to recognize and not do anything to hurt them any further.
Yeah.
I know that was like the old school way. They basically say, "Hey, coach, I think I twisted my ankle. I just walk it off."
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. So maybe
Thank God we're past that.
having better steps on what to do in the event a sprained ankle occurs on the field, and someone who doesn't have higher levels of training in being able to address that is there, and that way they know what exactly not to do, number one, and what to do to keep that player safe.
Okay, and when we talk about coaches, we're talking about like not just high school, but also clubs, national team, possibly even middle school?
Eventually. Yeah. And so we're hoping to roll out these courses again, because there's only 2 certified World Rugby educators. So that's myself and the rugby captain for the women's team, Olivia Elliott. And so, ultimately we have to kind of organize it across different areas of rugby on island.
There's no better tool than preparation, right?
Yeah. Yes.
No one knows that better than you guys. Okay, and we're also getting ready for another tournament, so this dovetails really nice into saying.
Yep. So speaking of being prepared, we're trying to. Right now, there's a all-girls tournament in Hong Kong, March 21, 22. So we're actively recruiting young girls, U14, U16, and U18. We use this kind of using it as a tool. Basically, it's going to be managed by our women's national team management staff and kind of being taken care of from the women's team. So this is kind of our give back to this year. I think that's our biggest push for the women's team with retention, and also being able to start showing these young ladies like international experience. I mean, that's one thing that they lack. I mean, now some girls are. I mean, 4 years ago before COVID, 2 of the girls from those squads actively participate within the national setup. So it's a huge, 2 girls doesn't sound like a lot, but it does when you only have 12 players.
How important is it that we're actually reaching kids when they're really, really young, not just for development or the fundamentals and everything like that, but giving them that international experience and even the mindset of saying like, let me go up against the best.
For us, everything's all about just skill development, and there's a process for everything. So a lot of times we get older girls that lack some of the skill sets needed. So being young, being impressionable, then we can start working on the smaller skills, and then as they get older, then it's unit skills and things like that.
And the both of you have seen, rugby from its early days, maybe 20 years ago, to where it is now.
Him more than me. Him more than me.
Well, both of you have been on the pitch and behind the scenes.
Yes.
So how far have we come, and how much further do we have to go to realize the vision?
The last couple of years, they've been a huge push within collegiate for the kids to play collegiate rugby. So that was good. Of course, COVID kind of hampered us in terms of us having men's teams. So we got the men's program back on track. The women's have been on track for the last 2 years. So realistically, it's just getting more games. Our biggest issue is that we're so far from everyone else.
Yeah.
So I mean, it costs a minimum of 15 to 18,000 just for a women's team to travel.
And there's Guam girls playing Division 1 now.
Yeah.
Ariana Marfalin from Academy just got in.
Yeah,
Yes,
great.
all
Congratulations
types
to
of our
all of them.
ladies.
They worked extremely hard. Their coaches have been pushing their agenda in terms of trying to get them into college. So, yeah, it's good.
All right. Merry Christmas to you guys.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Viva
Christmas.
Rugby.
Viva Guam.
Viva Guam.